Hello and welcome. Today we will be discussing Project 4, the Formatting Analysis Memo. I'd like to begin this recording by letting you know that this is the project that most students find the most confusing in this entire course. And it's actually quite simple if you just pay attention to the small details and do what you're asked to do. As always, you begin with your learning objectives, a list of what to read, some extra resources that could prove incredibly helpful for this assignment, a work sample from a previous student, and the assignment expectations. Again, this comes with a warning that this assignment does cause confusion. Please read through everything carefully and make sure you understand. And as always, if you have questions, please do ask before you spend a large amount of time doing something incorrectly. This assignment is designed for you to get an idea of how work is published and put together in your scholarly discourse community, how that work is presented to others so that they can also partake in it and understand it, and also how to submit your writing to a journal or a peer-reviewed publication of some sort. For this, you are going to be looking at what the formatting of the articles are. The content of the articles does not matter. Let me repeat that so that you're certain to understand. The content of the articles you review is not important in the context of this assignment. For this assignment, what you will do is first identify an article in a leading scholarly journal in your field. So you may have had to write other articles and use research from the library. The resources tab in this assignment does have information on how to do that if you've not done so previously. You will need to find an article. It's easiest to find something you're actually interested in that has to do with your chosen career field. So for example, if you're going into forensics, perhaps you look at some new research on some forensic process. If you are going into design, you look for something in the design field. The important thing is to identify a scholarly, peer-reviewed journal that contains at least one article that holds your interest. Now, once you have found that article and you go through reading it and finding information about it, you're going to want to find another article from a different issue of the same journal. That's the most important thing here, is that it has to be from the same journal, just a different issue. For example, if you are using Time magazine, which you cannot, by the way, that is a popular magazine, not a scholarly peer-reviewed journal, but if you were using an article from January 2023 in Time magazine, the other article you choose must be from a different edition, perhaps June of 2014. It doesn't really matter as long as it's the same publication at a different time. And here's the key thing. The two articles do not need to be related. You might have one on the psychology of adolescence in private schools, and you might have another that is on how to potty train a toddler. These two things are not related, but they could be published in the same journal. You do not have to find an article that is over the same topic. If you spend your time trying to find an article over the same topic, you are going to drive yourself crazy. Don't do it. Just find two articles from two different editions of the same journal. Once you've done that, you're halfway done. The next thing you need to do is create a memo talking about how these articles are formatted, how they are literally laid out on the page. There are specific sections you need to have where you will put the header information, like who it's to, who it's from should be your own name, the due date of the assignment for the date, and what it's about. Again, this is like the title of your assignment, and it should not be the overall name of the assignment formatting analysis memo. Remember that your audience on this is not me, and it is not the publisher of the articles, because they already know what their standards are. So you want to consider, who is it that you're writing this for? Think about all those people coming after you who are going to want to write for these journals. So in this body of these memos, you're going to analyze the formatting of these articles, and you're going to use the subtitles as the section headers we have here in the assignment instructions. You'll begin with an introduction. This is where you introduce the article, give the names of the authors and the date of publication, and then very, very briefly discuss it. This is by no means an in-depth analysis of the article. Very, very short synopsis of what it covers. That's all you need. 1 to 2 sentences at most is all you would really need here. Then in a second paragraph, you'll introduce your second article, the authors and its date of publication. Again, a very brief discussion of what it's about. And so make sure that you are including the information on where you found these and proving that it is 2 different editions of the same journal. Next, you'll talk about the Article 1 intended audience. This is a bulleted list of questions, but you should not use a bulleted list to answer. This is just merely to get your juices flowing and to get you thinking about what it is that you need to include. So you're going to find out, who is this written for? Is it written for people who already have advanced doctoral degrees and specific industry terminology that they use regularly? Is this for newbies in the field who don't know what they're talking about yet? Who is this article intended to address? The next section is where you will talk about the authors. Now note that a lot of these scholarly articles will have 10, 15, 20 or more authors. If it has more than 5, I am only asking you to look at the first 5. Generally, these authors are not listed in alphabetical order. They're listed in order of volume of contribution. So whoever's name is listed first contributed the most, and whoever's name is listed last contributed the least. So if it has more than 5, please only worry with the top 5. You want to find out who they are, where they work, provide information about their background, why they are an expert in this field, what degrees they have, any other publications, things like that. Again, this doesn't have to be super lengthy. 1 to 2 sentences on each author is fine, but please make sure you're not simply copying and pasting their LinkedIn profile or something like that, and know where you get the information so you can include it in your works cited. The next section, and the most important, is the formatting of the text. This is where you may spend several paragraphs talking about what they're doing to display the work on the page. Is this a serif font, a sans serif font? How do they use graphics? If they use graphics, do they present it single space, double space, wide margins, small margins? How is it presented in the journal? What sort of formatting do they use? Do they use lots of buzzwords and jargon? Do they have lengthy, exaggerated sentences that are hard to follow, or do they keep it short, sweet, and to the point? Do they use theories? Do they use equations? Do they use models? What are they doing to present the information? And then you'll go to Article 2, and you'll follow those same exact steps: the intended audience, the description of the author or authors, and the formatting of the text. Then you'll give me a results section. Tell me about what you find similar and what you find different in both of the 2 articles. Since they're from different times, then you may find some differences. If it's within a year or 2, you may not. But you want to discuss how you found things and what you saw and what they laid out on the page and if there were any differences over time. The last part, the conclusion, is really more your opinion. This is telling me what you've learned about your scholarly discourse community, how it communicates with one another, how professionals in your field write things up and present them to others in the field. And then also, did this help you with understanding how you would edit an article or how you would present if you wanted to publish? Lastly, you're going to give me a works cited page, and this can be in whatever style you're using or the style of the journal. So if it's APA, MLA, CSE, Chicago, Turabian, anything, it doesn't matter as long as you do have a formal works cited or references page, and it does have all the information, not just a list of links. Now, if your references page comes up and it's only a list of links, you will lose as many as 20 points from your grade automatically. You must do a little more work than that, and you must format things well. Tips for success on this is that your memo is going to be a little bit longer than 2 pages, but it's also not going to be 20 or 25 pages. Just make sure you're answering all of the particular questions that I've asked, you're including all of the information that I've asked for, and that you have it presented in a way that is easy on the eyes and neatly organized. So while this is about how something else formats, it's also about how you format your memo so that I can read it easily, and it would be very simple to follow if you were looking for this information. Keep in mind too that some of these journals do publish a style guide to show you what they're looking for exactly with minimum expectations, so that may make this a simpler possible assignment for you if you can find that. Be sure to number your pages according to your citation style, except for the first page, which you do not number on a memo. It still counts as page 1, but you just don't have anything marked as page 1. Finally, do not just summarize the articles. This is not about the content of the articles. Once again, while I'm asking you to give me 1 or 2 sentences about what's in there, it is not about a deep dive. It is not about analysis of the article. It's about analysis of the presentation of the words on the page. So make sure that you are keeping to the formatting and not keeping to the content. As always, if you have any questions on any of this, please contact me as soon as you can, and best of luck to you.